Oklahoma's defense is getting a new leader in 2025, and it's Brent Venables. The head coach announced he is going to call defensive plays himself this season. He's going to take full control of the Sooners defense for the first time since he got there in late 2021. He's been there for 2021, 22, and 23. Two not very good seasons, one 10-win season right in the middle of it. You know, his decision comes after a month-long search for a new defensive coordinator that ended without a hire, right? Zach Alley was the defense coordinator last year. He came over from Jacksonville State and did really well. But Alley left to go to West Virginia in December to rejoin with Rich Rodriguez. But yeah, Oklahoma just decided not to hire a DC. They did hire two key defensive assistants that should help bolster the staff. Everybody thought they were going to get Jim Knowles from Ohio State, but when that didn't happen, I guess Venables figured that he was the next best option, right? I mean, Venables he's won 3 national championships as a coordinator. He made it pretty clear that he believes Oklahoma's defense is built for success in the SEC. And I mean, the numbers this past year certainly showed that. But his quote was, I have reflected on all facets of our program over the past several weeks. Since I was hired as head coach, we have carefully assembled the defensive personnel and scheme that is suited to compete at the highest level. And we've built a deep and talented roster ready for the moment. I have high expectations for our program and will do everything in my power to achieve our goals for our players. To that end, I will take over defensive play calling responsibilities for the 2025 season. That boy sounds serious, don't he? Venables previously handled defensive play calling duties, handed play calling duties to Ted Roof in 2022 and 23, Zach Alley in 2024. Oklahoma ranked 19th nationally in total defense. They gave up 318.2 yards per game. They finished 5th in the SEC, which top 20 nationally is pretty, like, the offense continually put the defense in terrible situations last year. When the defense was on, they were on. Like, defense was not the problem. So, and this is a crucial year coming up. The 2 new defensive assistants, by the way, that should help support his transition back into play calling. Nate Dreiling, who is going to be the inside linebackers coach, he was the interim head coach at Utah State this year. He had to replace Blake Anderson very quickly, former Arkansas State defensive coordinator. Like, the guy has a lot of experience, and he is very highly thought of by a lot of people. And the other one is Wes Goodwin, and you probably know that name. He was the defensive coordinator at Clemson for the past 3 years. He took over for Venables. He was dismissed after this past year, but, you know, he was the right-hand man for Venables when he was in Clemson, and they did some pretty outstanding things together. But Goodwin was really young, and he's got some good experience now, but he had never been a defense coordinator before. So, at least not at that level, right? So both Dreiling and Goodwin, they bring some pretty extensive experience and some different perspectives, right? It should give Venables some more support as he assumes full control of this defense. And so what does it mean as far as 2025 goes? Venables is proven. Like, his leadership could push Oklahoma's defense into the top tier of the SEC. You've got some good young staff members now. I think that's a good thing. Kenneth jumps in on the chat. I think it's normally not good when the coach takes over play calling for one side of the ball. Yeah, it's probably not. But at the same time, who was the better option? Right? I think given all of the options, I would rather have Venables calling plays for this defense as opposed to just handing it off to somebody that you don't necessarily trust. And this is make or break, right? Like, this is absolutely make or break. You got Ben Arbuckle coming in as the offensive coordinator from Washington State, young guy. The coaching staff is evolving right now. Dreiling, young. Goodwin, young. I think this is good. Like, they were solid last year, not elite on defense. The offense was an absolute train wreck. So if Arbuckle can change that offense around, and even if the defense stays the same, they should be a lot better than they were. Although that schedule this year is just, I mean, it is rough. And And Kenneth, I mean, you're right. This is a high stakes move, right? He's got to make sure this defense is ready. And when you take on play calling, like he's letting everybody know it's his priority. The expectations are going to be through the roof. And if they don't perform, I mean, it was probably all she wrote anyway, but this would just be another nail in the coffin. So we'll see what ends up happening.